Me and the boys like to shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss the one that grab your favorite poles. Me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll, brought to you by Bill Lute Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and...
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Hey, I'm Don McDowell. This is Shake, Rattle, and Troll on Sunday. It's our Sunday edition. In-house with me, our voice of moderation, reason. And today there's something else. There is a mood and an air in here that I can't quite put my finger on. Special K, JK, the president of the ADA. What other acronyms have I missed?
Vice president of several groups, but we'll let that go.
Several groups. That would be the VP of the SGs.
Yes.
Nice. And then we have our catfish guys from the ACCA, Eric and Matt, a.k.a. Pops. I like that.
That's right.
That's it, man. I mean, you know how long we had to live to get that title? You have Pops, I have Papa.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
It took about 5 decades. All right, you guys are gearing up for the Bill Luke Bass. Actually, it's your second annual catfishing contest.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, now let's get the terminology correct. In the bass world, we have a tournament.
Yes, sir.
So is this a catfish tournament? Is it a catfish derby? Is it a catfish contest?
You could say it's all three.
Now we have to pick one word.
Oh, we have to pick one? Just
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
One? I'd go with the derby then. Derby sounds better than the
Catfish
tournament.
derby?
We don't want to
Yeah.
associate too closely with the bass guys, you know?
Yeah.
That goes back to another time in my life, Manzanita Speedway. We had derbies down there, but they were demo derbies.
Oh, I love demo derbies.
Yeah, love it. You know, they're having those back up in Payson.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I'm thinking we need a SRT ACCA demo truck.
We could do that.
Yeah.
I've been in demo derbies before.
Painful, aren't they?
They're fun.
I hate it when you see stars. JK, you've not been in a demolition derby?
No, I value my body more than that.
I have a roll bar and a seat belt. And
Yeah, but, look at these two. You want to talk
how
concussion
about
syndromes?
look at these three?
Well, that's true. You have been involved with that.
Yeah.
But you've also been hauled behind on a cowhide. You've been hauled behind a
I have.
quad,
I suffer from the military term TBI.
which
It's
is
traumatic brain injury. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff to do today. I kind of want to follow up before we get sideways here. On last week, I had an opportunity to sit down with Andy Clark, our assistant fisheries branch chief, in the sport fishing division of AZGFD, headquartered at 5000 West Carefree Highway. And we talked a little bit about the habitat placement, because there's kind of a mood, let's say, in the bass angling industry. I'm going to leave you guys out of it because I haven't heard it from you guys, but some of these folks seem to got a little bit of hat. Oh, look up. We'll get to that. They think it's okay to go ahead and put stuff in the lake, Christmas trees and pallets and Volkswagens and
that was
whatever
a
it is.
theory of probably 30 to 40 years ago, that if you put wood or Christmas trees into a lake, that you created habitat environment for whether it's trout or bass or any animal. And based on the fact that we only have impoundments in Arizona, we don't have any natural structure. There has always been a desire to have something in there to give fish an area where they could live and grow.
Of course.
But
It's wrong.
Yep.
We have a process. Andy's going to explain a little bit about the process. I know the process. I've been working with those guys for a couple of years now, about 3 years, looking for permits, especially on Lake Roosevelt, to implement the
Fish furniture.
It took on a new name. It was Reef Balls, went to Fish Furniture, and now they're categorically Cantrell Condos.
That's an appropriate term in honor
So,
of the big game.
yeah, I'm thinking, 2,000 years from now when somebody's doing an archaeological dig and they come up with one of these things and they go, what the hell's a concrete condo? What?
A contrail condo.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, we've got a little interview coming up the top of the second hour. We don't have any soldiers killed in action that DOD will admit to. There was a pretty serious attack near al-Baghdadi. We've got 320 United States Marines in a compound over there, and the ISIS broke through the wire, and they got the Apache attack helicopters out and cleaned up the mess rather quickly.
Good.
Yeah. So
Gotta love them Apaches.
Yeah, I can't even imagine two guys in history, Saddam Hussein and Colonel George Custer. The look on their face when they said, "Where did all those tomahawks come from?" And the other question I've posed to Senator McCain and Congressman Gosar is, when we bailed out of Yemen and left our embassy there, why didn't we follow that up with a couple of tomahawks? Leave the SUVs and flatten the compound. That would be to me the appropriate thing to do. On the note of Congressman Gosar, he addressed the House in Washington last week on Kayla Mueller, 26 years old, killed by the ISIS terrorist, and he had, let's say, a eulogy to the House in a moment of silence. We're going to play that at roll call today. Other than that, we have an update on the Mother Lake James Guggenauer on the Rim Country Custom Rod Fishing Report. But I want to get to whatever you have on your mind today, and I'm not sure what it is. He gets this look.
I think I can see that look right now.
Yes, and it makes me nervous because when I see that, I know something's going to happen, and I don't know what it is. So, what's on your mind this morning, J.K.?
Well, two things. I had breakfast Monday morning with Congressman Salmon.
Nice.
And he wore a hat similar to this one. And I couldn't figure out why he would do it. I thought, perhaps a little bit incognito since we're in downtown Gilbert.
Was it a catfish hat? An ACCA hat?
It was not a catfish hat, no. However,
we need to send him one.
We should.
Yeah.
We should. But I figured it out later when I saw he sent, if more elected politicians would do let their public know, the constituents know exactly how much work they're doing. I figured it out later because he sent out a video on Tuesday or Wednesday, and he had shaved his head, and basically it was in honor of people who are fighting against cancer. Obviously, he has some close friends, personal acquaintances who suffer from cancer, and so he had shaved his head, and he was addressing. He was going to address Congress, I think, this week regarding the issue of fighting cancer. And as a cancer survivor, I always appreciate
you personally.
People. Oh yeah,
you have had your bout.
Yes, I have. So I appreciate anybody who goes the extra mile to make awareness of the disease that's going to basically kill all of us or most of us. So
at one point,
yep,
none of us are getting out of here alive.
No. So, and then the second issue is something that we need to address. There's the Rosemont copper mine, which has been in battle, say, for probably the last 18 years, southeast of Tucson. They want to open the copper mine. And when we get back, we're going to go through the benefits and the detriments of having that copper mine in southeast Arizona. But as a exercise this morning, I asked Patrick to go through a list, and I'm going to read off some names, and if you can tell me what they are, we're good to go. The Hualapai Mexican vole, the Kanab amber snail, the New Mexico meadow jumping mouse, the Mount Graham red squirrel, the masked bobwhite, the loach minnow, the yellow-billed cuckoo, the Yuma clapper rail, and the Zuni bluehead sucker.
I know what that is.
You do?
I do.
Okay. The desert pupfish, Colorado pike minnow.
That one, too.
And, I mean, there are 35 different names, and all of these are species in Arizona that are on the endangered species list, which probably none of us will ever see. It's not part of our life cycle in any way, shape, or form, but it has created an industry, and the Center for Biological Diversity is at the core of it. And they have made vast fortunes placing these species on the endangered species list. And quite frankly, the Chiricahua leopard frog is alive and thriving well in other parts of the country, just not specifically in its total historic range. And this is where we're going to have fights from here to eternity in the courts regarding where an animal can survive and how long it's going to survive. Go for it. So, one of the things we're looking at now is the cost of protecting the Yaqui chub and the Yaqui top minnow from extinction. Basically, in an evolutionary process, species come and go all the time. And the part of that we're faced with is the balance. You're looking at the billions of dollars of economic benefit in southeast Arizona for the Rosemont copper mine, and you have to weigh it against the balance of what is the cost for the species that may or may not be involved with that balance. And a lot of these animals you and I will never see.
They're not going to make it anyway.
No, they're not consumable. It's a difficult time. So those are some of the names, and that's some of the battles that we're going to face, and it's going to cost billions of dollars to finally get to the end of it.
Well, here's another little-known fact. Every 26,000 years, the Earth rotates on its axis. The Earth wobbles. Henceforth, you have climate change. So whatever we have, it's a natural phenomena, yes. And yesterday, if you went out and looked up, you will have seen chemtrails. I, too, will have an aluminum hat. That is a great idea. I'm Don McDowell here with
Pops.
Eric.
Special K.
Does he remind you of a Viking?
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get him a fur vest and a hat with horns on it and a sword.
That was my assessment. He needs the hat with horns.
Anybody that big can wear a hat with horns.
You can do anything he wants.
We're going to take a break. Thanks some of our sponsors, including Bill Luke, Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge. When we come back, I'll tell you why. We'll be right back.
But there was a time. Got my toes in the water, ass in the sand.
Sounds like a catfishing song to me, man.
Better believe it.
Yeah, you
Sounds like a
big
wonderful
boy.
evening.
Okay, here's what you need to know about Bill Luke Dodge. They've got the President's Day weekend sale going on, and JK, they have a historical discount. 2015, 1,500 Rams have discounted down to only $17,903.
And what is going to happen to your beast?
I'm going to fix it.
For those who don't know, Don and I have an ongoing love-hate relationship with our vehicles. His has 291,000 miles.
I turned yesterday morning at 09, 293.
293,000. What year is that?
It's a 4.
2004.
Yeah.
Okay, you know I have a 2010 Prius, which I purchased brand new.
Stop it already.
Stop your snickering. That Prius has saved my financial life. And it's economically viable. So, I'm at 271,000 as of this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of driving.
Well, yeah.
Serious road
Yeah,
time.
I've got a little minor repairs to do on Monday.
Yeah.
Yesterday I spent the bulk of my day taking pop bottles down to the store for redemption. But, no, seriously, down at the dealership, they're having a huge President's Day sale. I was down there 9 times Thursday and Friday, and there's over 500 pre-owned certified vehicles on the lot. There's, I think, pretty close to 1,000 vehicles down there.
Yeah, what are the new trucks? What are they getting miles per gallon, which is going to be a key feature?
The Eco Diesel, don't quote me on that, but I think they're up around 25, 28 flat level ground. nice truck. I mean, the Rams have been Motor Trend's back-to-back champions, 2013, 2014. And one little-known fact about Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, they are the number one Chrysler dealer in the United States.
Serious?
Real serious. Oh. They take the Luke family values very seriously. No monkeying around when you come in there. You get the job done. The sales, the service.
They do have an incredible amount of people running around that place.
I think at the last count there was, in talking with Mr. Carter, about 124 that take care of the dealership. And, they've got a 5-star body shop down there. I've seen things that I couldn't identify without looking at the trunk because the front end was pushed into the windshield going, wow, there's one for the scrapyard. Well, I go,
we can fix that.
Yeah, we'll fix that. So, anyway, I-17 West Camelback Road. If you're interested, run down there and talk to David Mitchell or Pat Hackman, 2 sales managers will take care of you. They're open today till 5 p.m. and Monday 8 to 9 p.m. on President's Day. Okay, let's talk catfishing. What are the rules? When does it start?
The rules, big rule is no stringers. Live bait. All game and fish laws got to be followed, just like all of our tournaments.
Nice.
All state and local. Legal bait only starts at 2 p.m. Friday, and then the final weigh-in is
so you
9
guys
a.m.
are fishing nighttime.
Yeah, nighttime fishing. That's the best time, in our opinions. I mean, you can catch flats, you can catch channels through all hours of the day. They're more active at night. That's when they start feeding. That's when they
what's
start.
Your legal baits, Pops?
We got you can use live bluegill, carp.
Certain areas you can do tilapia, but just for Lake Pleasant where the tournament's held, worms. I mean, if you want, you can try swim baits.
If you use
for
a tilapia, you have to have caught that tilapia in Pleasant, correct?
Well, you can't, as far as I know, by Arizona Game and Fish rules and regulations, you cannot use them in that body of water.
No.
Only bluegill and
not
carp.
unless
Sunfish
they live
and
there.
carp.
Yeah.
Say again?
I said, yeah, I think that rule is, if it's a non-game fish and it lives in that lake, you can catch it and use it, but you can't bring it from someplace else.
Right. I'll have to look into that. But, as far as bluegill and carp are the main ones. Out at Pleasant, it's a lot of bluegill fishing because I haven't ever. The smallest carp, the only carp I've ever caught out of Pleasant on rod and reel was 14 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never seen, I've only known a few people or heard of a few people catch a bait-sized carp. So, I mean, I'm not going to string up a 13-pound carp on a line.
Good Lord, what a fight. Yeah, it's like catching a damn albacore.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's good, but yeah, so it's a big bluegill lake. That's a good bait out there is string up bluegill on a nice circle hook. Or
have you, in your gill netting efforts, happened to identify gizzard shad at Pleasant?
Gill netting, never done gill netting. Cast netting, you mean?
Yeah, cast netting.
I've never heard of them. Just the regular.
I've been hearing rumors that I've got a cast net, and I just haven't spent a lot of time out there flinging that net.
I've only been successful cast netting maybe once, and then I gave my net away to somebody else.
Somebody that could use it.
It's an art form.
It really is. And if you don't have it right, all you're doing, you're not even throwing donuts. You're just throwing a mess and getting trees and burrs and everything else.
All right, let's dispel the myth right now. What about hot dogs?
Hot dogs? Cutting channels off of them. Never caught a flat off a hot dog.
Really?
Channel cats love hot dogs, especially the Oscar Mayer wieners.
Yeah, buddy.
They love them. But yeah, flatheads never. I mean, like I said, you can catch them on anything. There's guys that have hooked them on chicken liver. We got a guy out in.
That used to be, when I was coming up, I sat here and listened to Homer Townsend, who was a big flathead catching monster guy, and he got into talking about catching, bluegill like you guys do. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't raised that way. If it stunk, use it.
Yeah,
it's hot dog, chicken livers, chicken dinners.
Anything nasty that you can get the stink, get a good smell.
Wow.
That was for catfishing.
Game has changed.
Oh,
all righty,
yes,
we're going to flip into a break. More with the Catfish guys. I'm Don McDowell, and
Special K.
You're scaring me.
Eric.
Should.
Pops.
If it was, he'd understand just a little bit more about the working man.
All right, we're back. JK, I want to talk about catfishing, but you keep bringing up the Center for Biological Diversity. Is there a way to stop them?
How do you stop a steamroller that's coming downhill? It weighs 8,000 pounds. When you've got an organization that has made a living off of federal taxpayers, and they brought in last year 8 points, and this is off their tax records, which is a matter of public
Is this
record.
according to DOJ, Department of Justice?
No, they're a 501c3, so they have to publish
They
their
lied
tax
to the
returns.
Department of Justice.
Gee, I wonder why.
Duh.
Yeah. Last year, they brought in the 2013 tax returns. They show an income of $8.6 million. The previous year was only $5.6 million. So basically what you're talking about is an organization that is growing rapidly, that has a tremendous acumen regarding computer-savvy people, and they send out emails to all of those folks who live in cities who know nothing about wildlife, who they express concerns for protecting the environment and the world, and please donate and please send money. And then on the other hand, while they're getting these handouts from all the unsuspecting
taxpayers'
old
money,
people.
yeah.
Well, no. There's a two-pronged effect.
Well, yeah, they have that, and then they're suing
Then they sue the
settlement.
federal government.
Yeah.
And they sue the federal government in a manner and a methodology under the Equal Access to Justice Act that allows them basically to walk away with a de facto win because the feds can't even respond in a timely enough manner.
Bam.
And all of it is going into their little coffers, and it's coming out of yours, mine,
Yeah,
and everybody in
and
this
they're not
room's
putting
tax
anything
paid.
on the ground.
No, they never do. They have total assets of over $13 million. And all they're doing is it's paid through administrative offenses. They're building their cash coffers. I don't see them ever going away unless there's an absolute revision of the Equal Access to Justice Act. And Congressman Hastings, Doc Hastings out of Washington,
Right.
wants that if you have assets of over $5 million, you don't qualify under the Equal Access to Justice Act. It was designed for the little guy,
Nice.
not the monster that the Center for Biological Diversity is.
Thank you, JK.
I'm still angry, but that's okay.
I know, you're getting me all PO'd myself. I don't like those guys. Anyway, how do I, so I go out and I catch my bluegills. How do I hook this bluegill?
Dorsal fin.
Pretty much, yeah, right behind the dorsal fin. You can actually go under by the vent. If you're in current,
Wisdom.
if you're river fishing in current, hook them through the nose, up through the mouth, out through the nose, because then
Ow.
when the current carries it, it'll carry us to where it's swimming straight. But
Looks
usually,
like it's swimming.
Carolina rig, we do a three-way rig. We got a three-way float rig that we use. A lot of guys, they use cat bobbers or balloons. It's pretty neat when you see a balloon dunking across the water. Some of them have glow sticks in them, or they'll take the little glow sticks, break them, throw them in a balloon, blow it up, tie it to your line, and you'll see a glowing balloon.
Pops,
start.
what's your preferred method?
I don't really just follow what the kid does and
Yeah, but what do you like to do?
fish.
Succinctly put.
That about covers it.
That's all we needed to
Yep,
know.
shut up and fish.
Yep.
Man, the carp, a lot of us use 2-hook rigs on that. You do a big hook through the front and then treble hook stinger through the back. It depends. I mean, I could show you, but
I get that. What
Maybe next
size,
time we come on,
What
I'll-
size line do you hook your hooks together with?
line, I run 50-pound mono and 50-pound leaders. I do have a rig. Andy strung up one of my bait casters with a 200-kilo Dacron,
Nice.
which is like rope. You could tie an anchor with it.
Yeah, basically pull a Prius with it.
Yeah, you can pull a Prius with it, no problem.
Yeah.
Probably got a reel that'll do it too.
That is just wrong. I'm going to tell my hamsters that. Give them the 5-hour energy drink. You're not towing that sucker anywhere.
I thought it was apples.
No. Well, you had to bring the apples, but when I'm going uphill by myself, it's a 5-hour energy drink.
They work pretty good on hamsters, huh?
Oh, yeah. They love those things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that use, there's guys that use 120-pound saltwater mono.
Oh yeah.
There's guys that use 100-pound braid on everything they have. On my big spinning reel, I got a real nice Akuma spinning reel. I use 100-pound braid, but that's because it's the diameter of it. I can get more line on there.
Yeah, braid's pretty susceptible to popping in rocks, and those
Well, that
catfish historically.
it floats too.
But aren't you fishing primarily on the bottom? You fishing up off the bottom? How deep?
Well, I fish from shore, so we run our baits anywhere from 75 to 200 yards off of shore, because we want to get in, like right now, wintertime, starting to warm up a little bit more, so you're looking at anywhere from, in the wintertime, 30 to 50 feet of water is prime, because especially at Bartlett, you got that river channel that comes down.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes across right by the flats, and right at Yellow Cliffs, it hooks over to the east. That's where we were fishing there December, and we were dropping our baits probably about 150 yards out from shore, and that was 35, 45 feet of water. And that was where the runs were coming from.
There's something big, mean, and ugly lives on the Yellow Cliffs.
Yep.
Yep. I don't know what it is, but it's really big.
Hooked into it a few times.
Hey, they'll suck down a Yamamoto hula grub, the quarter ounce bullet weight on it, and pop 12-pound test line.
Yeah, we got a guy back east that does. He catches them just off of swim baits. He does swim baits and jigs. Uses all artificials out of a float tube, and he goes for flatheads, and he catches them, and he catches some nice ones. He's back east. I think in Arkansas or something like that.
Yeah, I would not get into a float tube anything past the Mississippi River. Ever.
Ever. Nothing east of the Mississippi. Ever.
No. Have you ever seen a 75-pound loggerhead?
No.
It's a bad thing.
I've seen gators in Louisiana, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not going to happen. I'm not going wading anywhere in Louisiana.
You start talking about Texas and, Louisville. There's more cottonmouths in Louisville, and then you're dealing with the alligator gar. I don't know if they've ever bitten anybody, but
yeah, they look nasty.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
I've caught gar pike.
Some good eating.
I've caught gar pike in the past.
Really?
Oh yeah, probably 25 years ago, 35 years ago when I lived in Michigan. That was one of the things that a lot of the lakes had them. I mean, you're talking a nose that 18
full
inches
of teeth.
long. Oh, yeah. All teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys back there, I learned to catch them on crankbaits only because that's what I was throwing. And
that's what I caught mine on was a crankbait.
Guys throwing a piece of nylon ski rope. They get all tangled. Serious. Yeah, they bite it and it gets all tangled up in their face. In the boat they come. And then that's the other problem with the alligator gar. They put up a bigger fight in the boat than they do in the water.
Oh, absolutely.
So, what size fish are you guys anticipating coming out of Pleasant? What's going to win the Derby on the flathead side?
I'm hoping
probably 35 to 40 maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping for 30 plus to take the tournament at least.
How about on channel catfish?
Channel? Well, we're doing it's all combined now this year. So,
yeah.
I mean, if nobody catches a flathead and somebody catches a 2-pound channel, they can win.
Bam.
But channel, I haven't seen many big channels come out of Pleasant. I think the biggest I've ever seen is like a 5 or 6 pound channel. I mean,
it's interesting to talk to these guys. We're talking about big bass. We're talking about a 5, 8, 10 if you're really lucky.
Yeah. And 20s and 30s aren't uncommon
40s
with us.
And 80s.
40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
You get into 70s, you're in a state record.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
76?
Yeah, it's 76.54 or 52, I think.
Down to 1/100th of a pound.
What kind of, how heavy was Ed's line? Do you know that?
I think he just uses 50-pound mono.
Really?
Yep. 50-pound mono, 50-pound leader. I'm not 100% sure, but he doesn't run anything super big. Yeah. You don't really need to if you know how to fight the fish.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's for structure.
Yep.
Is why we run so heavy because of the
Got to
trees.
get them up out of the structure.
Yep.
If you're fishing the boat, you try to back down on them?
With the boat?
Yeah.
I know guys that have a pop anchor to move around and stuff like that, but a lot of times it's just
chase your fish.
That's right.
All righty, we're going to put on our tin hats and look up. I'm Don McDowell with my
voice of moderation and reason, John Colazar.
He's blowing that myth today.
And Eric.
And Pops.
We'll be right back. All righty, we're back. Bill of Chrysler Jeep and Dodge. the big bass days coming up March 13th, 14th, 15th. How do folks register for your event?
They can register online or at the tournament itself.
What website?
Bill at ChryslerDodge.com.
Do you guys have a website up where you can register?
I don't know if it's linked to our Catfish AZ website yet.
So
I'll double check.
BillLukeBassDays.com. What's the entry fee?
$60.
$60.
60, yes.
Okay. So that covers you for Friday night. You fish all day Saturday and Saturday night.
And then weigh-in
So
Sunday
you
morning.
guys start
We're going to have a weigh-in Saturday morning also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because with the night fishing and especially with the no stringer thing that we're trying to push now, you can't. We want to get the fish weighed in and get them released back because we're going to be tagging all the fish that are caught, and we want to get them released back as soon as possible. So we do a weigh-in Saturday and we do a weigh-in Sunday morning.
Weigh-in at 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
Okay, so
9 o'clock Sunday
let's
morning.
say I make the Saturday weigh-in and I make the Sunday weigh-in. What do I do with my weigh slips? Whichever the heaviest.
It'll be recorded.
Okay.
It'll be recorded, and you catch 30-pounder Friday night, weigh that in, and then you catch 50-pounder Saturday night. Your 50-pounder is going to count. Your 50-pounder is going to be your heaviest fish. Because heaviest fish wins.
One fish.
Yep,
that's
heaviest
it. This
fish.
is a one-shot deal.
Yes, sir.
I like the bass tournament.
Yeah.
It's cool. One fish.
Yeah.
One bait, one fish. Nice. Sounds like a Chris Kyle thing. Anyway. How many people do you anticipate are going to sign up for your derby?
We're hoping upwards of 50 or 60.
Wow.
I mean, last year we had 20 or 30. So we're hoping with a little bit, and plus we've been getting bigger, we've been promoting more.
Oh, yeah.
We've been getting the word out about our association, everything like that.
When's your annual big tournament this year?
For the ACCA?
Yes.
That'll be next October, or this coming October. We just did our ACCA tournament in October, our first ever. We're planning on doing a summer tournament, ACCA tournament also. We just haven't gotten the details pounded out yet in that.
Yeah, then we're talking possibly up at Pleasant for the summer one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the fall
We have
one
to
will be
go to
Bartlett.
that. I've been to countless number of tournaments or derbies, whatever you want to call it. These guys have more fun.
Better food.
Should be illegal.
Oh yeah, if you show up in the morning and I'm there and I'm ready, I'll cook you breakfast.
That's
I'm
right.
like
A real
cook.
breakfast?
Well,
no, I do not want a hot dog.
I went
No, you
last
wouldn't get
year,
a hot dog.
got out of my truck, saw Bobby, waved at everybody, got hit in the chest with a package of wieners at a high rate of speed.
I want a spinach omelet with a little bit of cheese.
Oh no. You get hillbilly catfishing food.
No special orders.
You'll get
What
no
does that
spinach
consist
omelet.
of?
Huh?
What would that consist
Breakfast is usually chorizo, hot sausage, egg and cheese burritos, which is everybody loves them. Never had any complaints.
Heart
Yeah.
smart.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
oh, bacon wrap hot links.
No. Gentlemen,
Steak.
you
fresh
will not
flat.
live to be my age if you do that on a continuum basis.
Yeah,
Pretty
probably
healthy.
not too far behind you in age. So
of? I don't know, JK. They have their group therapy consists of about 60 guys, boats, fishing rods and reels up on the lake. That's
yeah,
Could be worse way to
group
live.
therapy.
Yep.
Could be the way I live. Yeah.
it's called real therapy.
Real therapy.
There we go. REEL therapy.
Okay, so if I don't want to use live bait, what cut bait, artificial
Cut bait.
baits?
You could use cut carp. Catch one of the monster carp out
that's
there.
what you're going to do with the 14-pound carp.
That's
you
what.
catch in
Yeah.
the marina.
That's what we did. You usually cut fillets, or you cut the head right off. I know guys that'll split the head in two. I just run a whole head. You can do fillets.
Yeah.
You can cut up. If you have bluegill that die in your live well, you're holding them for bait. You want to go for channel. Even some flats. In the wintertime is when flats really like to cut bait. Other than that, they start getting real predatory, and they really start aggressively feeding once the water temperature warms up.
crankbaits.
So you can do crankbaits.
Yeah,
You could do soft plastics. You could do jigs.
Are they fast enough to get a good crankbait?
I'm telling you,
Oh,
JK,
yeah. They
we
got
were
power.
up at
They got
Bartlett.
power.
It was up at Bartlett last year. And we went up fishing, and some guys that were camped near us. A guy come in on his kayak. Had what was that?
It's like a 13 or 14.
He was out bass fishing.
He was trolling crankbaits and
Yeah,
boom, snagged it.
Yeah.
They're powerful fish. I mean, you hook into You hook into a 10-pound flat, it's going to feel like you got 7 10-pound bass on your
Oh,
line.
yeah.
Oh, at least.
The power of them is just that's where the addiction is the hunt for these creatures. That's where we get passionate about it, because you're fighting a 5-pound flat feels like you're pulling in a cinder block. I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
They are that powerful. And you'd be surprised on how greedy these fish are. You can have a 2-pound carp on your line,
And they'll
and
try
a
and whack
10-pound flat, you can tell when they've
yeah.
been gnawing on it, but they've been too small, because you'll get a hit or you'll get a run, and then, okay, it goes away, you don't get the fish, but you reel in your bait, and there's chew marks all over it.
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought. As I said earlier, we don't have any U.S. soldiers killed in action this week reported by DOD. However, last week we mentioned 26-year-old Kayla Mueller from Prescott was killed by ISIS, and our good Congressman Paul Gosar addressed the House in Washington, D.C. earlier in the week and had this to say.
Madam Speaker, we, the Arizona delegation, rise today to honor the life of one of our own, one of our young, and one of our very best. Kayla Jean Mueller of Prescott, Arizona, was a young woman full of youthful exuberance, optimism about peace and humanity, and willing to put her life on the line to help others halfway around the world. Kayla stood as a beacon of light and hope in a time that is too often filled with darkness. She was a beautiful soul, and I know she is with God now. And while all of our hearts are heavy with sadness of Kayla's passing, we stand here unified and strengthened to carry on her spirit, courage, and compassion that has touched millions. We must endeavor to remain brave and strong in the face of those who wish to terrify, just as Kayla did. No parent should ever have to endure the pain and suffering of losing a child so early. But now, let us look back fondly upon her life and the many ways she made our lives better by the words she spoke. I find God in the suffering eyes reflected in mine. If this is how you are revealed to me, this is how I will forever seek you. I now acknowledge the gentlewoman from Arizona, Ms. Kirkpatrick.
We're here today to honor Kayla Mueller and her courage and undying spirit and determination. And we're here to offer our hearts and prayers and comfort to her grieving family and friends. In Arizona, in Flagstaff, and in Prescott, we're all neighbors and we're all friends. Kayla went to Northern Arizona University, which is in my hometown, Flagstaff. And talking to her friends and her professors, everyone talks about her dedication to serving others. Even if it meant going to far away places that were dangerous, she was driven by a compassion to help the suffering. We know that her short life is proof that one dedicated soul can touch 1,000 others. Let us all keep Kayla's family in our prayers and her legacy in our hearts. And I yield back.
I now ask the House to join my colleagues and me for a moment of silence in honor in the immortal spirit of Kayla Mueller.
Here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, bass daddy and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
That's right. Hey, we're back. Welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We've got JK in here on a rant against the CBD. Eric and Pops talking about the ACCA catfishing contest at the 17th annual Bill Luke Bass Days at Lake Pleasant, Pleasant Harbor RV and Resort. And don't forget, the President's Sale is in full swing down at the dealership, Bill Luke Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and they've got a historical discounted down to $17,903 on a 2000 1500 Ram. Talk to David Mitchell or Pat Hackman. They open up at 10 o'clock this morning, close at 5, open at 8 on Monday. And we had a little discussion with Andy Clark from AZGFD, and here's what Andy has to say for you. Hey, I'm here with Andy Clark. Andy's our assistant fisheries chief in the Sport Fish Management Fisheries branch up at headquarters at AZGFD, .gov. Andy and I are talking about habitat. You know, the department, along with Andy, Chris Cantrell, and a whole bunch of other guys are working on Roosevelt Lake, have been for a couple of years now, and making a lot of progress. And Andy, what can you tell us about the artificial habitat process thus far going into Roosevelt?
Yeah, like we've talked about on other shows, We've dedicated about $100,000 this fiscal year to, enhancing artificial and natural habitat up there at Roosevelt Lake, and right now we're working with the Forest Service trying to get through all the compliance things that are necessary before we can put anything in the water, and working with them to get a biologist on that we share funding with, and we've got more funding next year to enhance that fishery out there. All because of the gizzard shad and questions what those impacts have been from gizzard shad. And we've seen a drop off in the bluegill fishery, and it's trickled down to the largemouth, and it's that food web deal. So we're committed to getting in there, and Kurt Gill and the Region 6 crew have been really great in getting that done, and we've got the aquatic habitat program here in headquarters. Amber Lee Jones is been great in getting that habitat purchased and stockpiled here until we can get all that that compliance stuff done. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, I know Amber Lee is really kind of a slave driver. She's got a whole bunch of anglers out making reef balls, and we were calling them all sorts of things. And I think at the last roundtable meeting, Bruce Iver called them Cantrell condos, which is going to stick nationally. So, in fact, this past week there was a session building more reef balls. So we're good for that. Andy, let me ask you this. You guys are really ahead of schedule on the overall program that you guys came up with, and at the first Angler Roundtable meeting over at Tonto Basin, the mood was, whatever, but man, you guys have stepped to the plate. You're ahead of schedule on a lot of the stuff, and it seems like right now one of the big, I'm not going to call it a holdup, but one of the issues is the permitting process for implementing the artificial habitat, be it moss-back, pre-manufactured structures, or the reef balls. How long of a process is that? What are you guys having to go through? Can you kind of shed some light on that?
Yeah, a little bit. It's one of those things. We work with those water management agencies, whether it's the Forest Service or Salt River Project. Those folks that are partners with us in managing the water in those reservoirs, and we just got to do our due diligence to make sure all the possible impacts are covered, and that we're putting that stuff where it needs to be put, so it's not a hazard. It's not contributing any contaminants to the lake. There's just a whole myriad of things that go through that, but it's moving, and people are on board. People want it to happen. There's very little dissent in it. It's just getting that process done. I know a lot of anglers get a little frustrated with that timetable, but it's working. We're committed to it, and it's going to get done, and hopefully we'll see some real good benefits with the bass fishery. I'm really hoping that bluegill population just perks up, and then the bass will follow suit.
Well, that's the bottom of the food chain, so to speak. There's some lesser species, but if there's no bluegill, there's nothing to eat. I mean, it starts right there and impacts all the way up. But let me ask you this: there's within the process of getting permits to implement artificial habitat, right now there seems to be a mood with some of the anglers. And I'm pretty sure it's fairly isolated, but they think it's okay to take it upon themselves to circumvent the process and go put stuff, whether it's a pallet or this or that, in the lake. What kind of an infraction is that? Isn't there something in Title V covering that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to make sure that it's well known. There's ethical issues in there too, but just the practical stuff, Don, is when people take stuff in their own hands, whether it's putting their own favorite fish in their water or stocking their little honey hole with their favorite habitat, it slows down everything for the rest of us, because when those things get discovered, whether they're not weighted down right or there's something on them that's a contaminant, and those other water management agencies get a hold of that stuff, or we do. If an individual's caught, it's a Title V violation. You get you'll get a citation. get cited and go talk to a judge about it, because it's essentially littering, but there's a whole host of other things that are involved with that. But the ethical part of it is, stocking your own little honey hole with an advantage, gets to that question, is why we're fishing and what it's all about. You know what I mean? So most of that stuff is you think on face value, who cares? We're just helping game and fish out, and ultimately it slows everything down, because we end up having to go get it a lot of times. I remember years ago we put a bunch of batteries and tires in Lake Powell, and the guy that was running, the superintendent of the park at that time said, "Oh, that's great. Get that, fish suck into that. It's inert. It's stable. Tires are tires, right? They don't degrade in water." And a new couple of federal actions took place, and the new superintendent in there made us go in there and yank it all out. We strapped on the scuba gear, and we had to take all that stuff out of there and dump it, at a pretty significant expense. So, that's the kind of stuff that if we don't do it right, we don't go through the right channels, and we don't put it in the right places, so it's not floating up and getting in the way of boaters and swimmers and that kind of stuff, it hurts everybody. It slows everybody down.
Well, I think, one of the things we're looking at, we've got all the way from littering, you've got, the state infraction, you've got a federal infraction. You're on a federal reservation, with the Forest Service, and then you've got the county involved, so that really could multiply into quite an extensive financial assessment, and in my mind, more than a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
What about the length of the process? We've been engaged right now with Roosevelt for 14 months or so, trying to go through the process with 8 or 10 or 12 different agencies that you guys have to answer to. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I mean, the main ones are Salt River Project in the Tonto National Forest. But, to get permits to put that stuff in the lakes, you got to go through the Army Corps of Engineers. There's a process, like you say, that gets it done correctly, so that we're all accountable, for what's going on there. So, really it sounds like a long time, but actually this is moving pretty quick, and hopefully, this time next year we'll have some green lights and really, start putting stuff in. Again, we got to be deliberate about it. We got to be smart. We got to be putting this stuff where it needs to be, and it takes some thought. It's not just willy nilly. So.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of hard work's gone into it from the whole fisheries branch staff. What can you tell us on Florida strange stocking? Do you have any idea when the next projected stocking may be at this point?
Yeah, we were shooting for this springtime, and as far as I know, that's on track. We're in the next few months. We're going to have a shipment from Florida come in, and we were hoping to get some feed trained fish in there, but we've got some issues to iron out at Bubbling Ponds. Get those ponds prepared for them. But the fry, the stocking's going to happen as planned. This later this spring. And another little shot in the arm for the Florida strain, but we're still moving towards getting some Florida strain in the hatchery, and being ready to follow it up with some bigger fish.
You mentioned the new hatchery, Bubbling Springs, is being converted to warm water. What's the projected schedule to start growing our own fish up there?
Yeah, not as soon as we'd like. We're looking. Best case is probably 2 years. Time we get all those ponds dug out and sealed up the way we need to, and get the other properties ready to go, and get everything. Again, the process has all gone through and get it ironed out. So I'm looking at 2+ years for that yet.
Well, that's good information. So any ideas I had about sinking a 69 Volkswagen there outside Windy Hill is just totally out of the question. I wasn't going to take the seats out.
Well, you can do it, but you're taking a chance.
I don't want to go see the judge. Okay, guys, that's update from Andy Clark, Assistant Fisheries Chief, Sport Fish Management, Fisheries Branch, izgfd.gov. I'm Don McDowell. This is Shake, Rattle, and Troll, and guess what? Yeah, we're coming back.
And I ain't paying the rent. Spent my whole life shoveling dirt. I'm gonna get out of
All right, we're back. We've got a guest wandered in here. Tony G, step up to a microphone. Tell me what you're up to, man.
Hey, Don, how you doing? I've just been doing a lot of fishing.
So you came down today wanting to learn how to catch a catfish all by yourself?
You know what? I've been learning a lot while I've been sitting here, so yeah.
These guys are masters. We've kind of hit on it before. The old days of chicken livers and things that stink aren't necessarily the way to do it.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yep, that's true. No, I've been learning some of their secret baits, and I've just been taking it in, and I might be becoming a champion catfisherman here before I leave.
Boy, that sounds like
dreaming's free.
That sounds like a challenge to me.
Well, then come on up and get into the Derby in March.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Let me give you the wins and wheres on that, because I missed the first part. So where's this at? And
this is Bill Luke Bass Days. This is the ACCA second annual Catfish Derby, we're going to call it, right in the middle of Bass Days. They start fishing at 2 o'clock on Friday. You have a weigh-in Saturday morning at, 9?
10 on Saturday.
10 on Saturday.
10 on Saturday.
And then 9 on Sunday.
And you keep fishing. It's $60 to fish 2 days.
I see. Well, I know I'm planning on attending the Bass Days, so I'll probably swing by the booth and catch up with you guys out there.
Well, I'm prohibited from fishing for the bass. Am I prohibited from fishing from catfish?
Come on out, Don.
Come on.
If you can fish all day and then all night, be my guest.
There you go.
Well, the Dwayne and Muggy Owen quit playing at 9. Mm-hmm. We get things cleaned up, lights out at 10, so I can be on the water by 10:30.
There you go. Perfect time.
You've only missed, 6 hours of fishing time?
Yeah. Depends on when the fish are biting. So they'll bite later on at night.
Yep, 2 in the morning, in the marina, under the lights.
No?
No,
you got to get out in the dark.
Ooh, fishing in the dark.
Yeah.
They don't like the light?
Sleep on your boat.
That's what I was thinking. Sleeping on the boat.
Yeah.
All right, so what's new in the world of live target baits?
I'm glad you mentioned that. We've got the new yearling series coming out, and at the Bass Days, I will be hopefully at a booth there with a whole new assortment of them for you all to check out.
Really? A yearling series? That sounds like an elk hunting thing.
Now, you remember the bait ball series that was the big hit year before last? It came out in ICAST.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the yearling series, what they've done is they've actually shrunk the baits down smaller, and added more to the bait. So you have, like the original bait ball had 4 or 5 minnows swimming in a school. The yearling series has 8 to 10 to 12, according to the size of the lure in it. So they went even smaller, gives more fish in the school pattern look to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
About the size of an FR5?
Probably close to that. It's pretty small. Now, I was out at Bartlett fishing a jerkbait the other day, and I caught a bass that was really close to the size of the entire bait. But he had actually keyed in on one of the small minnows that was inside that lure. That's why he thought he could swallow it.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. My head's going into a tailspin. Help me out. You've got that look. Okay, the minnow inside the bait.
Yeah. Remember now, the bait ball has several. Hold on, I'll get one out here. Oh, I got one here in the.
He brings a briefcase that has bait balls.
Tony's a scary guy. I thought Sam Shattenberg had a lot of stuff in his boat.
Here's the bait ball series, guys. See now what you got here. This has got 4 minnows in it inside that body, encased in the bait.
Pass it around. We have to see this.
Yes, that's the bait ball series. And if you notice,
I'm absolutely stunned.
There's four baits inside that bait, and
things that make you go woo.
Right now, the bass that actually bit the jerk bait was almost as long as the jerk bait. But you see, if the baits that are inside this bait would have been perfect for him. So he'd actually, basically what I'm saying is it works. Those fish actually key in on those individual minnows.
Okay.
Now the yearling series.
I'm looking at this big.
That's a bass fishing term, by the way. Okay.
Yeah, I like
this
that.
Is
That's one of my
by,
technical
this is by far something that I could absolutely have a ball with.
Yes,
I'd be a cranker.
The military acronym is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yep, I agree. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Yep. It works. There is a whole lot.
Whoa, dude.
Thanks. Well, hey, Don, I actually brought this one for you. Hopefully this will be your next Wilson.
No, it doesn't go to Don.
I thought I was going to the rifle
I'm in
range
field
today.
testing now.
Eric, stab him in the leg.
There we go. It was going to go to Don as his next Wilson.
Too bad,
Wilson.
Don.
Wilson.
You're not fishing. I am. I think this would do well on stripers, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. You got to hide that from Derek Franks.
Now, here's
Derek, I hope you're not listening because I've got the lure.
I was at Havasu a while back catching the stripers on this one here.
Really?
Yeah. I say a while back. It was actually quite a while back. I was in the that FLW with that open they had there at Havasu.
I could use this as a gypsy call.
And what we have here is a key ring with a bunch of different the crankbaits on it, the different body styles.
If that's a key ring, where in the world would you put your keys?
That's true.
You know who reminds me of back in the day? The shoe store guy would come to your house.
Oh no!
Remember that? That's Tony.
There you
He'll
go.
come to your house with a key ring.
All my samples right
if you
here.
want to date back 100 years, he's pulling up in a covered wagon. He's going to sell. He's going to sell you anything you want.
That's right. We got it right here in the briefcase. I got all that live target lures, all that excitement right in there.
Wow. So what kind of patterns besides that one that you have come in the bait ball series?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that.
We're going to take a break.
Here we go.
We'll
be time for that one. Well, each one, they come in about 4 different colors.
How big is that briefcase?
Believe it or not, there's not only a tackle box in there, but a rod and reel also.
You'll never make it through TSA. We've got to stand down, take a break. Calm down, and we'll be back. James Guggen Hour, and I'm afraid more of Tony G.
There you
and
go.
Eric, and Pop. JK, you're spinning out, dude. Hold on. You thought deer hunters were bad.
Nothing like this. God help you guys.
I'm not worried about cutting the grass. Left my truck at the boat ramp and my boat is full of gas. My old boss thinks I'm sick today. He won't have me to harass. 'Cause I'm out here on the river, and he can kiss my big old bass, kiss my bass.
Alrighty, that means one thing. Our brother James Guggen Hour from downtown Payson, where the weather's probably pretty frosty this morning. James, what's the temp?
Yeah, a little nippy. We were a little bit above freezing today because we got some cloud cover. But great morning up here.
No. Let's clear that up. You got sprayed with chemtrails yesterday.
Yeah.
We got it. I saw it. I looked up, and there it was.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we keep calling each other all week long.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm having my coffee. JK calls me in the morning. He goes, "Have you looked up?" I go, "What?" Just go outside, look up. I went outside, looked up. Lo and behold, we were getting squirted with something.
Well, no, we didn't get any drops. At least not in the last couple of days. It's been pretty clear up here, really.
Wow. Let's get right to the chase here. You had a meeting with the MSA this past week. J.K., were you aware that Mr. Guggenauer is a committee member of the MSA?
I suspected as much because anybody who's involved with anything outdoors in the Payson area is part of MSA. They're a very strong group up there, and they do a really good job.
So we need to refer to him now as Mr. Committee Man?
Mr. Committee Man from the MSA,
right.
Mr. Guggenauer.
All right.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Yes, the Monkey Island Sporting Association here in Payson, a lot of people know that It's a 501c kind of organization. Do a lot of work with young youth in the area here in Payson and Gila County. And actually 50% of their donations go to the youth, and then the other 50% go to wildlife conservation. And they work closely with Arizona Game and Fish on a lot of their projects that are going on in Rim Country.
Well, good stuff. And you're going to be giving us a monthly report on their activities as they develop?
Yes, absolutely. If you go to the Shake, Rattle, and Troll website, you'll see a little post there on Buggy on Sporting. We're coming up in May is the annual banquet, and they raffle off just a ton of firearms. And listening to these guys at the meeting talk about the firearms that they're going to be raffling off this year is just amazing. I mean, it's over-the-top stuff. They're talking about rifles that cost like $2,700, and we got this one for $2,500, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be an over-top kind of event. So get your tickets and head up to the Madazelle Hotel and Casino on May 2nd.
Geez, those rifles are almost as expensive as one of your custom rods.
Well, yeah, dude.
Oh, thanks, JK. Hey, some good news on Roosevelt Lake. Just checked this morning. We are up another percent last week. We're at 46% full.
Good. Nice.
However, we are starting to see some taper of the flows. The Salt River is still flowing at 100%, but the Tonto Creek is down to about 30%. So, but, you know, the lake has come up over 4 feet in the last 3 weeks. So, a good storm that went through here, and hopefully yet this spring we'll get a couple of more of these.
Okay, so let's do the math on that. So 4 vertical feet equal 1% of volume increase.
No, 4 vertical feet represents almost 5% increase, isn't it? Because we were down, way down.
How much did come up last week?
Last week, 1%.
Yeah, but how many feet?
It's almost been about a foot a week, I could say.
Okay,
so
1 foot equals 1%. Okay.
Yeah, in 3 weeks we've come up a little over 4 feet. So pretty spectacular. What's really good about that
stuff? That's a lot of water.
You know this, Tom, but for the audience, you know, when you start getting a little bit of growth right on the shoreline, you get some green things starting to blossom, and then those things go underwater. You just can't get any better than that for spawning situations.
Perfect.
So that's the excitement about the lake coming up and some new growth there. And the spawn is actually starting. That's the other thing that's good. This is all coincides with the spawning. We're seeing temperatures range from 54 degrees in the middle of the lake, clear up to 64 degrees in the backs of some coves on the afternoon.
Yep.
Guys are reporting that they're starting to see some small bass, you know, the buck bass we call them. They're swimming in the backs of the coves, and that typically means that the spawn is starting on the lakes.
On the hunt.
Good news.
Yeah, 56 degrees historically will start triggering that particular mode.
You're right. And, you know, we just passed the full moon, but the next full moon is just going to be perfect timing there. The other thing that all this water coming in the lake has done is I can almost say that 100% of the lake has stained water in it. And it is clear down to almost the Salt River Cove on the salt end and well past the Choya ramp on the Tonto end. The only clear water you can find in the lake is right down by the dam now. Everything else is pretty much stained. And then in addition to that, you know, there, especially on the salt end, more than the Tonto, that there are some trees and logs that have been washed into the lake. So we're telling boaters up here in Rim Country, if you're
baby,
be careful, because those things are out there and they're big. They're not just branches; they're regular trees.
Yikes! Those are USOs, John. Those are unidentified submerged objects. Yes.
Yeah. So the good part, you know, the baits that are working this week, and you know, this is pretty predictable this time of year. You know, we have the stained water. We've got a little bit of activity moving on. Fish are starting to become active as the water temperature heats up. So it's a jig bite. Guys are flipping jigs in that dirty water up on the salt end. guys that are familiar with Campaign Bay, where a lot of those stick-ups are, just fish are attracted to that, especially in the stained water, and they were being pretty successful there.
Is anybody reported throwing blades?
Yes. Other baits are spinner baits and crankbaits in that same area, but really the brightest colors that you can find. You need a lot of flash, and you need a bright chartreuse color bait in that stained water. And guys are reporting in 10 to 15 feet depths is where they're seeing some activity there. So clear indication. I mean, this is moving into the spring type fishing, right? So we're starting to see early indications of that. And the locals down there, they can see a big difference in the last couple of weeks than they could in the last month for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So fun stuff. Now, crappie fishing. I know you guys were talking about it earlier. Still reported poor this past week, but with the wind that was blowing up there, it's kind of tough to do crappie fishing. You just kind of can't move slow enough in the boat when the wind's blowing like that and you have big waves. So hopefully we'll get some little calmer water out there. Windy Hill is still, I don't know why this is, but Windy Hill is like the area that everybody's fishing this year, and that's really different because usually they're down around the Choya Ramp, or up by Schoolhouse Ramp. But the reports this year are Windy Hill, and if you kind of go across from Windy Hill, like over towards Sally Mae, and then come back towards Windy Hill, you'll see a lot of boats kind of taking that area up there. The last thing is trout fishing, mostly due to the stocking program by the community fishing program and the stocking up on the rim. Trout fishing is excellent. A lot of roads are frozen over, and a lot of the lakes are frozen. But those that are open and you can get to fish, guys are killing them.
Nice.
Wet flies on fly rods. I mean, these guys are telling me not to tell anybody. That's how good it is. Wet flies, power baits, and small spinner baits were all reported successul, but you do need to check the boat openings and the lake conditions before you head up into
I bet they're using black gnats.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah. All right. In that spinnerbait report, are those using half or 3/4 ounce?
3/4 and 1 ounce.
3/4 and 1 ounce chartreuse with chartreuse blades. Try
and they're burning them. Go as fast as you can reel.
Yeah, man. All right, we got to go to a break. You have a blessed week next week, and we'll be visiting.
Thank you, Don. Talk to you later.
All right, James Guggenauer, Rim Country Custom Rods Report. A lot of water coming in. We're going to flip into a break, and when we come back, we'll get this thing wrapped up with the ACCA guys and Tony G over here tormenting JK. That's kind of like having a snow globe.
Yeah.
It is.
I know.
You get 4 baits inside a snow globe?
Yep. I want to see how this works.
Call it a bait ball.
Never mind.
The transmission was a 53 and the motor turned out to be a 73.
Yeah, a little blood on the hook.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Hey, we're back. We need to get this thing cleaned up. What you need to know, if you're looking for a vehicle, Bill Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, I-17 and West Camelback Road is having a heck of a President's sale. Go in, ask for Dave Mitchell or Pat Hackman. If you're interested in a pickup truck, they've got the 2015 1500 Ram, historically discounted down to, I'm going to repeat this, down to $17,903. There's over 500 pre-owned certified vehicles on the lot. They're open till 5 p.m. today, open up at 8 a.m. on Monday morning on President's Day. My guess is there will probably be hot dogs involved at the dealership. Can't be sure, but usually is. And then March 13th, 14th, 15th, marks the 17th annual Bill Luke Bass Days, President RV Resort and Marina. We're giving $10,000 for the big fish this year, 6 hourly weigh-ins, $300 for first place, $100 second through 10th place. The T-shirt option, another $1,000. Big bass option for the day is another $1,000. Daily cash drawings, $2,000. A lot of money, over $50,000 going to be changing hands in a 3-day period. And be sure to sign the bonus book at dealership and or Sportsman's Warehouse, I-17 in Yorkshire Drive, back in the fishing department. And we've got concerts Friday night, Saturday night, cornhole, car shows, military vehicle displays. The National Guard is there. The United States Navy is there. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary is there with the U.S. Coast Guard regular boys. They're flying in a HH-60, a.k.a. the Jayhawk from San Diego. JK, that'll land at about 10:30 hours on Saturday morning.
Ooh.
And depart for San Diego Station about 1600 hours. And we've got DPS coming out. They're bringing some vintage squad cars. I don't know if I've personally been chased by one, but it'll be interesting to try to identify that.
You've been radar scanned by one at least.
Yeah, at least. Pop. What else? We've got a mission request in from the DPS helicopter to come out. Do a flyover. We've got the Mopar Car Club, all makes and models, the Dodge Dart Club, the Cars Club from Sun City will be there with their vintage cars. I can't call them hot rods because they keep it original. Billy Schumann's coming down with vintage open-wheel dirt track cars. Rumor has it he's put a clutch and a starter in a wing super modified for Kim Carter to do laps around the compound. Arizona Game and Fish will be out there, boating safety, sport fish education, backyard bass, Operation Game Thief, aquatic invasive species, Adobe Mountain Wildlife Center with their creatures. Goodyear Bass and the Arizona Bass Nation will be out there. We've got a Cub Scout group that has volunteered to come out and wipe your boat down. Mm-hmm. The Coast Guard Auxiliary will, at no charge, inspect your vessel. If you pass, you will get a certificate to fax over to your email it to your insurance company for a discount. Most of them are doing that. You get a double discount if you take a boating safety class. So, that being said, one more shot for ACCA.
And then remember, guys, we got the ACCA second annual tournament, Catfish Derby, going on. Starts 2 p.m. Friday, $60 entry fee for Friday and Saturday night. First weigh-in's Saturday morning at 10 a.m., and the final weigh-in is Sunday morning at 9 a.m., and the biggest fish wins. So
now that's $60 for both days.
That's nice. My understanding.
Okay. Well, you're the boss.
Yeah, that's the tournament.
Is he the boss?
No, he's the boss. No.
Bobby's the boss.
They're pointing at each other and going, he's the boss.
Oh, you're going to bring his name up?
Yeah.
Bobby Wright, a.k.a. Top Duck? Yeah.
He said.
ZZ Duck.
Yeah, was it Top Duck or ZZ Duck?
I like ZZ Duck.
ZZ Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cross between ZZ Tops and Duck Dynasty. Yeah. Perfect fit. We're going to debut at Billock Bass Days as well. Bobby doesn't know this, but the right bait. You and I talked about that the other day. Yep. And it is the right bait. At the end of the day, if you haven't caught a fish, you may eat your bait.
You guys are deplorable.
I don't know what that means, but
it's not good. Trust me.
Does that apply to Eric as well?
Totally.
Stab him in the leg.
Done.
Tony G, one more shot for live target.
Hey, thanks for having me out, Don, last minute like this.
Hey, not a problem. It's always fun to have. Hey, have you been painting? You've got some white stuff in your beard that wasn't there last time.
That's age. I got a little more gray than the last time I was here. But,
Tony, that's a myth. It's white. It's not gray.
Okay. It is
actually, it's translucent. It's lost its color.
Okay.
Just nice.
So you know.
But, yep, I wanted to say thanks for having me out here. Hey, fishing fans, I love you. Check me out on YouTube. You can just Google Fishing with Tony G. It'll bring up all my social medias. Stop in, say hi, check out what I'm up to. And good fishing, everybody. Thanks for having me out here.
Okay, you coming to Bass Days?
I sure am.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll get with you in a minute on that. I got a little information here for you. But, yeah,
Roger
look forward. I'll be out there. I'll be in my Nitro, hopefully with some brand new carpet. We're getting ready to put some new carpet in the Nitro.
Nothing like a Nitro boat. They do build the best boats that they can.
Yep.
End of story.
I'm kidding.
I know. Everybody has their favorites.
Used to be Ranger boats. Now we're picking on nitros.
Okay. Yep. I was in a Skeeter before that. You remember when I had that Skeeter?
Yeah, man. I drove one myself for a long time.
Yep. I like it.
Hey, if it floats and catches fish, I don't care what it is, it's a boat.
That's it. I fish out of a John boat a lot. You know, catch just as many fish.
Here's a question: do you have anybody fishing out of float tubes in the Derby?
Oh, the catfish Derby.
That I don't know. If they want to, bring them on out. Kayaks, whatever.
Whatever you want to.
As long as they make the weigh-in, at least the final weigh-in.
Yeah. Well, Heroes on the Water is going to be out there with their disabled veterans, and they have a really cool kayak therapeutic fishing program for these guys. PTSD, TBI, physical, malfunctions, whatever it is. They're doing a great job. They're going to have a derby within the Bass Days Derby for somewhere from 2 to 4 hours. And Phil will be out there with Sergeant Andy Gettle and Tom from ArmyBassAnglers.com taking care of that. And going to be interesting. Those guys do one hell of a job for the veteran community, and our hats are off to them as always. JK, how many wolves have we got in Arizona?
Well, they just finished their annual survey. They have now 109 wolves on the ground between New Mexico and Arizona, which, if we look at the ratios that we should have, that we mean that Mexico proper should have 1,000 Mexican gray wolves in their landscape, and unfortunately they have, I think, less than 2 that are functioning still within Mexico, but we have 109 between New Mexico and Arizona.
And the original promise was up to 100
Up
wolves.
to 100 was what we did when we went in with this agreement back in 1995. 100 wolves on the ground, up to 100 wolves on the ground.
So we're done.
No, we're not. They're going to try and get 350 now. Just wait, 10 years from now.
If you have rules of engagement or make a promise, and you break the rules or break the promise, aren't all bets off?
It's called program reevaluation by the federal government. That is what they are trying to do. There's a recovery of the species. They was listed as threatened. We went in under the non-essential. That is now an endangered species, and it's fully fledged, and they want to recover it as much as they can here between New Mexico and Arizona. It's not good for our state. There's going to be crossbreeding. We're going to see it happen sooner or later.
Crossbreeding? You bring up crossbreeding?
I do.
Are you aware that by the year 2044, now make a note of this, I'm not going to be here.
Nor will I.
That the Caucasian race, as we know it, will have been crossbred out of existence, according to the United States government, by 2044.
Thank you for all that information, Don. It's called TMI at the moment. So we'll leave that one alone, but I guarantee you that within the next 6 years, there's going to be a program reevaluation.
Is that why CBD is passing out condoms?
Of course it is. They want what's called sustainability.
And they want to solve the landscape, and it goes back to Agenda 21. And yes, I'm going to put my aluminum hat on that within the bowels of Agenda 21, they want to depopulate the Earth up to 85%.
That's correct. An 85% reduction in population would be really good.
Does the Caucasian race become an endangered species then?
I don't know. Let's apply for a grant. We can do a study. The SRT.
Well, that happens to be one of the mission statements of our own 501c3 SRTO, is the conservation and preservation of the dominant species.
Humans.
That's everybody here in this room, and everybody that's tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
There you go. I have no objection.
We will try to preserve you.
Thank you. Don't even look at me like that. Don't threaten me.
No. Shotgun rifle and four-wheel drive.
There you go.
Yep.
Take my Prius and I'm going home.
No. So, are you going to be out dancing at Bill Look Bass Days?
No, I'm going to be fishing.
What about the cornhole contest?
No, I have seen them. I can't drink that
Here's
badly.
what's developed. The United States Navy and the Arizona National Guard have cornhole teams. So they're going to be going head-to-head. And since that came up, the Coast Guard goes, well, we can do cornhole.
Do you know how much you have to drink to be really good at cornhole? I saw the winners last year, and I sold beer to them. They consumed vast quantities of beer. I can't drink that much.
Well, maybe we ought to copy John Campbell's Yellowtail Derby, and the winner wins his weight and
Pale Ale. Pale Ale.
Oh, man.
Oh, all righty. Hey, check out the President's Sale at Bill Luke Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram I-17 and West Camelback Road. Yeah, you can buy a 2015 Ram 1500 under $18,000. Who would have thunk that? I'm just saying.
I know.
And they take trade-ins.
Yeah, look at yourself first. Go in the mirror, buddy. Go in the mirror. You're a truck
man. 07, I've got an appointment with my service advisor, Cheryl Stevens, for a new front end.
Take your money.